Says.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm here with Gabriel Howearth, and we are here to talk about nutrition for plants and fertilization. So as you can see, we've got some lovely vegetation behind us on this beautiful day in Hawaii. So Gabriel, I'd like to ask you about fertilization. What are the different components to fertilization and nutrition for the plants?
Well, the first thing is, so I recommend to most people is to do a soil test to know what you got. Then you start, okay, I'm missing this, I'm missing this. Then you can build on it or what you need. And most places will need compost. You can make compost, and I'll get into details of making compost in another lecture.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a main thing I'll say about compost making. You're sort of adding carbon into the soil. You're adding your nitrogen for sure. But the main thing is that when you make compost, it's a layering technique, kind of like making lasagna or something.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, and so you layer it like 3 or 4 inches of a carbon material, which I'll get into that when I have my lecture, and then it's 3 or 4 inches of a nitrogenous material, and then on top of that, about a half an inch of soil, and then moisture, and then you keep adding and building, and it's about 5 foot long, 5 foot wide, I should say, about 5 foot high, and as long as you want to make it. You can make it 5 foot long, or you can make it 1,000 foot long.
Wow. No. Okay. So
Important.
where can people go to have their seeds, to have their soil tested? Is there a company you recommend that you
There's a lot of places that do that. You can go to universities. The one that I recommend is probably the best is Peaceful Valley Farm Supply. They do a good soil test, and they give you good recommendations for organically how to improve your soil.
Okay.
So Peaceful Valley Farm Supply.
Peaceful Valley
Peaceful
Farm
Valley
Supply?
Farm
Okay,
Supply.
very good.
I'll
So,
get into that. That's compost.
okay, very
For
good.
now.
So composting and soil testing and what other aspects?
Well, then soil tests. Yeah, it's a matter of knowing, because a lot of people say, well, my soil's good enough. And it really is good to know. I mean, it only costs you $30 to $40 to get a basic test and understanding of how much organic matter do you have, how much nitrogen you have, with nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But then there's calcium and iron, magnesium, zinc, copper. There's a whole bunch of things. The trace minerals need less amounts, but you still need them. But what the plants need, and our body needs the most, is calcium more than nitrogen.
Oh, wow.
So calcium becomes very, very important. So I'll just say that for now. And then the next part of the building soil is cover crops. I think it's almost like a lost art, lost science. I mean, it needs to be revived because nature does that kind of stuff all the time. Not exactly with the tractor, but they always have nitrogen fixing plants that build, like, say, I mean, they're building soil all the time. I mean, that's the key component. So, like with cover crops, I mean, if you're in the tropics, you have a whole set of different interesting plants as annuals. And if you're in the temperate zone, you have almost the same. So, in most cases, you're planting cover crops when you're off season. Like in the North Country, it would be more in the fall, winter, when your crops are done, but then it's building the soil, keeps it light, keeps it warmer. You can start to build crops earlier in the season. And in the tropics, you can plant them almost any time of year. That's the thing with the tropics. You're not as limited, but you can choose you can do summer cover crops when it's low season, considered low season in the tropics. I mean, there's ones I'll mention, Sesbania, Protelaria, which is called sun hemp, labla. There's a bunch of interesting ones. They grow real fast, and the main thing about all the cover crops, to gain the maximum nitrogen and carbon and all that, you want to turn them in when it's only about 10 to 20% of flower. Not like the full net flower, because once it's in full flower, then it's making seed. Once it goes to seed, all the energy's gone way into making seed. So that's important that it's in the soil. And the least you turn it and let the roots break down on their own, you're going to get even more. So that's cover crops.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. Make sure you folks go ahead and subscribe and click here to sign up.
One last
Oh,
thing.
yeah, one last thing.
I want to mention something called foliar feeding. Many people are not familiar with foliar feeding. But foliar feeding is when you want to, like, say, in fruit trees, because sometimes the fertilization program doesn't work fast enough and it needs some extra quick fix food. So what you do with foliar feeding is just like spraying with a liquid, like say liquid base. Usually it's a seaweed-based fertilizer. So, and you spray early in the morning or in the evening before dark with sound frequencies or music you should really like, because then the plants will be dancing and more open and alive. And what it is the somata, the stomach of the plants is on the underside of the leaves. So if you foliar feed them on the underside of the leaves when it's not raining, then they can get the maximum amount. I found that was really good for my citrus trees on the case in point, because they need a lot more iron than most things. I mean, like Science explained it to me. He said, well, Gabriel, if you just sink a big car in it, then you get enough iron for each. That's what they need. So I would foliar feed with seaweed-based spray, and seaweed happens to be high in iron. So it was so easy. The citrus responded and grew so good that way. So, I mean, those are all things people say, oh, I don't need that, but I think most plants need that. In nature, one has to think about it. In the wild, in the past, there was so much ozone in the air, the plants were getting fertilization from the atmosphere. And then they had frequencies of birds and insects to make certain sounds, and all that to help everything grow good.
Sure. Okay, well, thank you very much, Gabriel. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click here to get Gabriel's Secrets of Gardening. See you next time. Thank you very much.